All right, I have the director Jackie with us for her film Lost in Memories. Jackie, it was so wonderful watching the film with the judges, and I just wanted to, give you an opportunity to share with us a little bit about yourself and what gave you the inspiration to make Lost in Memories.
Thank you so much, Christina. I'm so excited to be part of your film festival. Um, so the inspiration for the film, I got married a couple of years ago, found the love of my life kind of late in life. And I still don't know how it happened, but all my pictures in the cloud showed up on his phone. And so, yeah, so that happens. FYI, people, if there's pictures you don't want seen. Um, and so what ended up happening, though, is it looks like from the pictures on his phone that we've been together the whole time. And I met him in high school, actually. And so I remember him and he remembers me from long ago. And so it's confusing on there. And we just started talking about how really confusing that would be if you were older, maybe had dementia, you'd been together a little while. But if you can, if you both just think you've just been together the whole time, then you get to avoid all the pain of the divorce and, death and different things that happen as you get older. And so I thought, oh, fun love story. And so I wrote it as a love story between two older adults who think they've been together, that they're childhood sweethearts. But that was 17 minutes long and not that interesting because there was no drama. And so I reached out to some friends to ask about their experience with parents with dementia. And I had somebody who said that the pain. So I was trying to figure out if two people would have dementia the same way, like they would both think the same thing. And
Yep.
she said that when her mom died, her dad married his childhood sweetheart and that they both thought they'd been together the whole time. And she said that before I told her what the movie was about.
Yeah.
I went and she said it was really hard, really painful for her, but she had to give in and just be happy for her dad that he thought this. And so I went, oh, that's the hook. It's the kid,
Yeah.
So I rewrote it, tightened it up, and made it focused on the son instead of on the parents.
Awesome. So with this film, is this like, have you made films before in the past? Have you done short films? Have you done feature films? Like, how did you end up jumping into the world of filmmaking?
So in 2017, my daughter let me know that she was transgender.
Okay.
And I was trying to understand, and I was a single mom at the time, and I was trying to wrap my head around that. And while I was wrapping my head around it, I saw a feature film about like a Freaky Friday with a single mom and a transgender appeared to be son switch bodies and explore gender issues that way. And so I wrote the movie as a way of dealing with everything.
Yeah.
My daughter asked me not to do anything with it. I set it aside, but at that point I was hooked on writing screenplays because I've always written short stories, I've written a novel, but I really liked the act of writing a movie because I can see it, while I'm writing. And so I put that aside, wrote this movie, wrote another feature film. I've written actually now 5 or 6 short films.
Wow.
Yeah, and we have it. And this is the one that we thought, oh, this is really easy to produce for not a huge
Locations,
one
single
location,
location. Yeah.
single location, 4
Yeah.
actors, one day. And so we went ahead and this was my jumping into in the deep end of the pool.
Yep. And you had never done this before this one. You had always written, but you had never actually created a project like a film.
I never had. One thing I'm really good at is creative collaboration, and I'm really good at finding talented people to partner with.
Yep.
And so when I knew that I wanted to explore filmmaking, I got involved with our film festival here at Cordillera.
Oh, with Emily.
Yeah.
Yes, Cordillera. How did you get involved with Cordillera?
Well, it's so funny the way the world works. Everybody, when I would tell people, yeah, I'm writing a movie, and again, this is something I've never done before. I just jumped in and I had 5 or 6 people say, oh, you have to meet Emily Skyle then if you're writing a movie. And I went, okay. And I was at an event and checking people in, and this woman walks up and she said, I'm Emily Skyle. And I was like, no way, I'm supposed to meet you. Like you're, and luckily she didn't think I was a creepy stalker. And so we just started talking. She invited me to Cordillera events. They needed somebody on their board who knew marketing. And so I
Oh,
got,
perfect.
yeah, so I got on their board. And again, I learned from being around people who are smarter than I am. And so just being on that board, and then luckily, Emily kind of took me under her wing and has been teaching me the ropes, and letting me, because like that 17-minute film, she said it would be great at 5.
Mhm.
And I said, and I went back and I said, I can get it down to 7. I can't get it to 5. And she spent 3 hours with me and gave me a master's course in editing and got it down to 5. And
Wow.
yeah, but Tyler, the DP, is on the board. Aaron, the star of the film, is on the board. The costume person is on the board. And these are all people, so I've met by, volunteering. And then they got involved with the movie. And that's why it's so good, because obviously I've never done this before. But I had really amazingly talented people working on it.
That's great. So you said that you have a ton of other scripts that you've written.
Mhm.
What is next after Lost in Memories? Like, what's the next project that you kind of really want to jump into and, explore?
Well, after so with all the politics lately, I really wanted to go back to Transference, which was my original film about the transgender child and the relationship with her mother.
Like the Freaky Friday.
Yeah. And so I went back to my daughter and asked her if why she didn't want me to do anything with it. And she said, because I'm not transgender, I'm not qualified to write that role. And I respect that. And so I asked her if I could find a young transgender person to partner with, if that would be okay.
Hmm.
And she said it would, because obviously I'm qualified to write the mother role. And so I am looking for a co-writer to help me fix that film and make sure that it's as authentic as possible. And then I'd like to, start working on funding and get that. I'd love to see that one move forward. Because I think the message is really powerful, and I think it's a message that needs to be heard right now.
What's the message of this film that you're working on?
The message is that transgender people deserve the same love and respect as anybody else. And it starts with their parents. Like sorry.
Yeah. No.
But that's the most important. That's the most important thing. When she told me, she finally let me know what was going on, and I was so afraid. And then I realized that I was afraid for her, and I realized that parental acceptance and love is so powerful. And
Mm.
that's the message I want to get across in the movie. And, and really, I don't know if you have kids, obviously not old enough to have teenagers, but it's a movie about anybody who's different from their teenagers, which is all of us.
Yeah.
It's all of us. And so
It's
it's
just the
just,
generational divide too. It's just, I feel like,
it is, and it's their job, it's their job to be different from us. And so I think, so that's the message, is acceptance both ways. Was interesting when I wrote the first, it's kind of done.
Mhm.
But I gave it to some people to read, and I had a young transgender man read it for me. And he said, he goes, it's so funny, was through all of my process, I never even occurred to me what my mom was going through.
Hmm.
And I thought, oh, because you don't, right? You just go through your own thing.
Yeah.
And then I had
How it affects, like, yeah, definitely the people around them.
yeah, yeah. And you try so hard, to be understanding and to be supportive, but you're going through your own transition at the
Oh,
same
for
time.
sure. For
But you
sure.
don't want to lay that on them. So it's, so that's what it's about. And it's like any Freaky Friday, you get to the end, after they do the body swap and they have to be in each other's bodies, and then they understand each other, and and everything is great. And so I just think it's really powerful. I thought it was powerful when I wrote it the first time, and I think it's even more powerful now.
That's great. So this is, you had mentioned you have this project and then you have like other projects that you're working on as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so in
Yeah.
terms of like a production standpoint, like, do you want to start filming certain things? Like, do you want to film like certain projects like right away? Do you want to like hold off? Like,
I think, because I do have some other short scripts that I think, like Lost in Memories, that would be pretty straightforward, easy to shoot for not a
Mhm.
ton of money. So it would be nice to do some of those at the same time that we're raising money for the other. And like I said, finding a writing partner.
Yep.
So because that helps me hone my skills.
Yes. And the
So
thing is, like, the great thing about short films is that, I shared this, with another filmmaker before, but there was an investor in my network, and they do posts and stuff, and on his post he says, short films don't make money, so
yeah.
why should I invest in short films, and he was legitimately like asking like a legitimate question, like really like, what is the point of investing in short films? And I responded by saying, the reason why it's important to invest in short films is because short films cost a fraction of the cost of feature films. And the thing is, if you don't really know a director or a filmmaker that well, why are you going to invest $500,000 in somebody when you only find out that you don't work well with them at all? You can find out if you work well with them or not, working on a short film. And then
Right.
at least you have a product, but you didn't waste $500,000 working with somebody that you probably wouldn't really want to work with. And so that was my response to that, why it can be valuable. Because again, just because somebody has an amazing short film, just because they're incredibly talented, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be really good business partners for you, right?
Oh,
And the thing is, I think that that's so important, especially on a feature film, when you're filming for like 2, 3, 4, 6 weeks, on a project, and you're around them all the time. It's like you definitely want to gather people who you enjoy getting along with, right?
oh, 100%. And that's one of the things that was, like I said, I've done a lot of, I'm in advertising, I've done publishing, I've had magazines. So I've spent my entire career doing creative collaboration. And so I know, how important it is to let people be experts and to do what they do and not get in their way. And one of the things that was really nice on this was being on the board with these people, just being on the board with them for a year or two, so you get to know them really well. And so
Yeah.
when you do go on the set, you know when to step back, when to step forward. But 100%, I think on a short film, and I really like the challenge of a short film too, being able to get across a really important story in a very short period of time.
Yeah. And
I feel
it's one
like,
of those things. It's like, if you can't get your point across in like, I don't know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like, are you really going to be able to get your point across in like an hour?
well, and that's what was funny with Lost in Memories. And this is where Emily's such a good teacher, because I thought that the 17-minute script was, not perfect, but pretty close. And I realized as I was going through it that I just got all enchanted in their love story. I would just loved these two old people looking at pictures together, and I'm like, that's not that interesting to watch, just of them just going through. And so yeah, I loved the exercise that she made me go through and to get it down. And so this is what I've been doing now with the new scripts, is I'll write the first draft and then I'm like, okay, this could be way shorter. And I'll
Yes,
go
and the
back.
thing is, with somebody like Emily, because she's such a veteran in running the film festival, like she knows what festivals will take. Like, 17-minute film, a lot more harder, especially when you have like physical screenings, in a
Right.
theater, a lot more harder to program than like a 5-minute film, so it's like she absolutely knows what she's doing. And I love that, you are open enough to take, the things that she says. Cause when somebody gives you feedback, you could just, like the first response could be like, what is she talking about? Like, no,
Right.
I want to keep doing it my way, like getting defensive, so just the fact that we're open, and you're like open to learning and like growing, I think that says a lot about you, just as a
Well, thank you.
filmmaker.
Yeah, and I actually I am really good at that. And again, because I've spent an entire career in communications, professional communications. So you do get a lot of pushback and a lot of, this is harder because it's personal. This
Yep.
is, if this is not me writing an article for a magazine or writing a blog post. This is very personal.
Yep.
And with one, like the other script I'm working on, the other feature, I did send that into Blacklist and paid money to have my heart ripped out. it won awards. It was winning awards at film festivals, that script was. And I
Yeah.
sent it in, and my deal is I take a day to kind of grieve and be sad and to decide not to ever write again. And then the next day go, okay, go see what they said and take, what makes sense and everything. And it was funny because all three of those reviews were different.
Yeah.
And so I took pieces out and went, oh, so much better. Look at it, be better.
Oh, good. That's so good.
Well, and this script too, this is one that I wrote as a drama, and Emily read it and said this would be really funny as a romantic comedy.
Oh, interesting.
And I rewrote it as a romantic comedy. So now there's two versions of the same story. So I
That's
guess
awesome.
technically I have
See,
three.
I feel like Jackie, with some of the people that you're meeting, like I want to encourage you, like really, push those short films, like tell them that you have some short films that you want to make. And, a lot of these tech professionals, like I said before, like a lot of them like wanted to be actors at one point, but they never pursued it. They just pursued a career. And, because they pursued a career, they have the financial means to be able to invest in projects, now, if it's the right project. And so the thing is, I feel like it's one of those things too, where it's just work with them on a short film, see how they do. If you collaborate well together, then maybe you can, you both can work together on like your other, longer feature films that you have down the line. And, because of these tech professionals, they have their own tech network. They can help you, raise the funds too. So that's like the whole benefit of having this festival. It's to make genuine connections with people. And then you never know how those connections will resurface again in the future.
That's really good advice. Thank you.
Yes. So I will just say, Jackie, I'm very excited for you to meet our network next week at the formal events and for everybody to watch your film, Lost in Memories, now that they know a little bit more like they have a little bit of context and background around the story. So Jackie, I hope that you enjoy your time at the festival, and thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to it.
Great.
Thank you.